Hey everybody, welcome to A Pop of Culture. I'm your host, Esoteric and Facetious, and this is A Pop of Culture, which is my video essay podcast where we speak on pop culture from a black, bisexual, millennial, Gen Z perspective. In today's video, we're going to have a story time. I haven't had a story time in a minute, but I think this one is very interesting, and it actually had a new development on Labor Day, a Labor Day cookout. So I wanted to talk to you about this situation. The title is going to be something about the weirdo, and I want to talk about my interactions with the weirdo and just get your thoughts on this. This is going to be one of those story times where it's not just me telling you, oh, this happened, and that being that. This story time is going to be more so, I want to know your thoughts on this. I want to know if you think what they did was right or wrong. I used to have a series on my channel. I'm going to make more episodes eventually of was she right, was she wrong, was he right, was he wrong, where I discuss different situations where I question, is this person right, is this person wrong in the situation? And I want this story time to be like that. I want to break down this person's actions, the weirdo's actions, and figure out if they were coming from a good place or if it was just something where they were in the wrong. So basically the story consists of two incidents and background information about a cousin saying some weirdo stuff to me that made me uncomfortable. And I want to talk about those incidents, the background information, and I want y'all to comment to me whether you feel this person was being a weirdo like I feel, or if you feel they were saying innocent things that were taken out of context. So let's get into the story. So the two events are the wedding and the Labor Day weekend cookout. So let's start with the wedding. So this was summer of 2021, the beginning of summer 2021, and one of my cousins was getting married, and I was really excited because this cousin, she's in her 40s. Keep in mind, the cousin getting married is not the cousin who is the weirdo. But anyways, my cousin's getting married. We're so happy, we're so excited because my cousin, she's the mother of a cousin that I'm really close to who's around my age. She had been married before to his father, and that hadn't worked out. So for the majority of my life, all that I can remember, she's been a single mother to him, and she's been a damn good single mother to him. But throughout my lifetime, for most of my life, she'd been a single woman. Around the time that my cousin was about to graduate from high school, she'd met a man. He'd been going to different family gatherings. We got to know him, different stuff like that, and he seemed cool. So they were actually going to be married. He proposed, and they were going to get married. But I guess one thing led to another, and they ended up breaking up. But she actually met another man who was all that he said he was and who truly made her happy. So it was really nice to see that my cousin, who I knew my whole life as a single mother, was finally getting to meet somebody new who was actually going to love on her right and do her right, because I'm sure a lot of us have heard of the quote-unquote leftovers with people in the manosphere. There are a lot of people who vilify single black women of a certain age and try to act like, oh, it's their fault, oh, they're low value, oh, they're this, and oh, they're that. And my cousin, she is wonderful, she's amazing. So it was nice to see, even though some of these people in the manosphere, they keep preaching, oh, if somebody isn't married by this age, then they're leftover, and they just speak down on people. It was nice to see in real life, like, no, my cousin, she was in a previous relationship that didn't work out. She put her time and energy towards raising her son in the way that he needed to be raised, and now that he's entering into the world, she was able to put time and energy into finding a relationship that made her happy. And I think the icing on the cake was the fact that even though the situation with the first man hadn't worked out, she didn't necessarily give up. She didn't put her hands up in the air and say, oh, it's over for me, oh, I'm past a certain age. She kept looking, and she actually found somebody who was better than the first man, who was actually doing what he said he was supposed to do, doing like he needed to do as a man, and she was able to end up happy in this relationship and end up getting married. So I was very happy for my cousin. I was so excited because, like I said, I've seen her as a single mother my whole life, so to see her not only find a man, but find a man after breaking up with that other man, it was really nice to see, because like I said, so many times we shame black women who are of a certain age. So to see her find someone, even after she realized that that one person wasn't for her, she kept looking and she found the person who was meant for her. So this is a very happy time, a very exciting time to see this family member getting married, being the star of the show at the wedding, blah, 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 blah. Because especially as someone who consumes a lot of content by content creators like 𝑭𝒊𝒓𝒔𝒄, who talk a lot about how they as black women of a certain age can't have this and can't have that, and that's her perspective and that's her viewpoint, and I believe she's valid in seeing things the way she does. And I'm not blaming her for that, because I feel her experiences shape her beliefs, as I feel all our experiences shape our beliefs. But it was just nice to see that my older cousin, not everything went right in her life, but at this moment in time, things were going the way she wanted them to go, and what she wanted, she got. So it was just nice to see that. So I was very excited for this wedding. And also too, keep in mind, this happened in 2021, so it had been a while since I'd seen a lot of family members, because I was away at school, and also with all the COVID stuff, we didn't have Thanksgiving and Christmas like we always did in the years following the pandemic. So it was nice to see family members, to be social, to just be interacting, having a good time with family members because it had been a minute. So I was hyped about that. And also too, it was a destination wedding. It was out of state. I'd never been to an out of state wedding, a destination wedding. So it was like, okay, we get the wedding, we get a little vacation, we get a change of scenery. So I was just happy. I was just excited for the wedding, excited to be around family, excited to have a little excursion. So everything was looking good. Everything was looking fun. So we get packed up, we're hyped, we're ready to go. Everything is good. We get up in the car and my dad drives us to the location of the wedding. It was in Florida and everything starts off cool. Everything starts out great. So we arrive, we get to the hotel, we put our luggage down, and I believe at that time everyone was having dinner, so we go to the hotel, and I believe at that time everyone was having dinner. It's good, we hug everybody, we chat with everybody. We're introduced to some of his people. We're shaking hands, hugging people. Oh, hey, how are you doing? What's your name? Blah, 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 da, da, da. Having a good old time. We go sit down, eat our food. Everything is wonderful. And after that, there was a mixer, so we go to the mixer. I believe the dinner was, I guess, more so like, close-knit family members, but I think the mixer was just everybody. So we go upstairs to the mixer and we're meeting with even more people. Hey, how you doing? Da da da. What's up with you? Da da da. Blah 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 blah. And I see the cousin who is referred to as the weirdo in the story time. And the funny thing is how everything started. Everything was just looking good and feeling good with this cousin. So this cousin, she's my first cousin. She's related to me through one of my aunts, who is my father's sister. My father is the youngest of his siblings. So a lot of my first cousins are older. They are in their 40s plus. So their kids are actually around my age, even though we're first cousins. A lot of my second cousins are my closest cousins because they're around my age. So I see the weirdo cousin, and we'll evaluate later if y'all believe this cousin was being a weirdo. I feel like they were being a weirdo, but I'm making the story time just so y'all can give me your take. So anyways, we see this cousin, we see her daughter. The weirdo cousin, she doesn't usually go to the family gatherings and events, but her daughter does. So I'm cool with her daughter. Her daughter's chill. We have a good relationship. The weirdo cousin, I wouldn't have considered her the weirdo cousin until after the 2 incidents that we had. So don't think I'm like somebody who's just like really biased against people who's saying, oh, you're a weirdo. She earned this name for herself with the things she did in the story time. I had no beef or ill will with her going into this situation. So we hadn't seen her in a minute because, like I said, her daughter usually comes to the family gatherings, but she herself doesn't usually go. So we were just happy to see her. We're like, hey, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. We're just chopping it up, da, da, da. And she was being very friendly, because I'm not going to say she's not friendly, but I feel like she's the type where she can be real nice if she want to be, but sometimes, I guess it's just depending on what day you get her. And I mean, I love her. I love all my family members, but like I said, there was some weirdo behavior later on. And one thing I'll add in here is part of the reason why I guess we were uncertain with this cousin is I remember there was a time when somebody went to hug them. It was at a Thanksgiving or Christmas. They were just hugging everybody because I guess it's a Black function. A lot of the time you greet everybody, you speak to people when you see them. Hey, how you doing? What you been up to? You know, how's life? Checking on people. At least that's how I guess I've been raised as someone from the South in a Black American family. When you come in the house, you speak to people, acknowledge people, hug people, shake people's hands, whatever. Somebody had tried to hug them. I remember her making it weird and saying like, oh, you know, I don't hug people, which they hadn't known. So I don't know, there was something about her energy in that moment. I'm one of those people where I'm like, it's cool if you don't want to hug people. And there was a period in my life where I didn't want people hugging me, at least people I didn't know. So I get it, like sometimes you don't want to be touched by other people. It's fine to set your boundaries. But I felt like with her, it was kind of weird because it was like when people coming in and greeting and like hugging people, and then you kind of give them the cold shoulder, like something about that felt weird. If you don't like hugging people, you don't have to hug people. But I don't know, there was something about that where it was like somebody was trying to just connect with you. She's not always at events, so that person was trying to go out their way to connect with her. She kind of gave them the cold shoulder, and I don't know, like I said, I don't think it's a big deal if you don't want to be hugged by people, but I just, something about that felt weird to me. It may have not been her intention, but I felt like she was giving somebody the cold shoulder when they were trying to be friendly to her. That doesn't necessarily relate to this bigger situation, but I just will say I do think little things that she said here and there like that do make it where people, they don't really know where they stand with her, but it kind of felt like she was mocking the person for trying to be friendly with her. Let me know your thoughts on that. And like I said, boundaries are cool, but it was just weird. In a later video, I may tell y'all the story about why I didn't like being hugged for a while. And basically, it was related to the story. It was my freshman year, and there was this person I was friends with. He had this mental breakdown. There was a lot of different things going on where he was saying things that he normally wouldn't say and doing things he normally wouldn't do. And I remember there were these people, I was friendly with them, but I remember when he started acting out, they were acting like it was the funniest thing ever. Like, oh my gosh, did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he did? Da, da, da. And I mean, we were freshmen, we were first years. So it was like, maybe they didn't realize at the time time that it was as serious as it was, but at the same time, it was pretty clear he was going through something. We were in a language arts class together, me and one of the people, and I remember in the class, they were just like, did you hear about what he said? Did you hear about what he did? And then a few days later, it went even more serious, where medical professionals or mental health professionals had to go to his dorm, and he had to be taken to a place. He went to the school, he graduated, he seems to be doing fine. But I just remember that situation because when he was having the episodes and saying all these different things that didn't make a lot of sense, I remember those people laughing and kicking, oh my gosh, did you hear what he say? Did you hear what he say? But then the second that the mental health professionals get involved and he has to be taken off campus, then I remember I was in the dining hall, one of the dining halls, they had this really good Mexican food. And I remember I was sitting in the dining hall and they wanted to sit here and walk up slow to me and hug me and, how are you doing? Are you okay? And it's like, y'all was just kicking and laughing about this person having mental episodes. Now that he's had to be removed off campus, it ain't funny anymore. Now you're trying to hug me. So I get why that cousin may have had a thing about being hugged, but I do feel like her approach to it of kind of mocking the person who was trying to hug her and be friendly with her, it did rub me the wrong way. But anyways, like I said, we were at the mixer, everything was good. This cousin, she's being really friendly with us. She's chatting with us. She actually complimented my hair because I have curly hair. I picked it out so because I'm about to get it cut. So she was gassing my hair saying, da-da-da, like, I'll get you right if you come to my shop, like, da-da-da, come to my shop, da-da-da, because she's a barber and her hair is always together. So I'm like, yeah, I want to come to your shop, yeah, da-da-da. Like, she was just being so friendly, and she was talking to us about how her daughter was going to a new school and da-da-da, and how she was nervous for her because it was a new school, it's a new environment, and I believe it was her junior year because this year's her senior year. She was just talking to us about the school and how things were going to be different, and we knew of that school because our school, our high school, was actually a school where it was, there's a word for it, it's like the relief school, where basically too many people are going to that school, so they make a new high school, and if you're in a certain area code, you go to the new school. So we'd been in different competitions with the high school. We'd had football games against the high school, different stuff like that. So we're just talking about our experience with the high school and just being real social, having a good old time, chopping it up. So I'm just feeling good about this cousin. I haven't seen her in a minute, but you know, she's being real friendly. She's just being real kind because, you know, she's off to take me in her shop and get me together. So I don't know, there was something about her vibe that I just really appreciated then, because like I said, since she's not usually at family gatherings, I'm cool with her and I'm friendly with her, like, you my fam, I love you. But I don't know, there was something about her energy that first night where it was just like, okay, like, all right, like, you are actually mad cool, like, I'm feeling comfortable, like, okay, this is cool, let's hang, let's chop it up. So I felt comfortable with her. We're just chatting up with different people, being friendly, having a good time. All these people here from all these different parts of the country, family members, people the bride and groom had met. So the mixer or the meet and greet, it concludes. Everybody goes back to their hotel to rest up for the next day because the next day was going to be the wedding. Everyone leaves, everyone goes to sleep, and we wake up the next day. So the wedding was around, I believe, 6 or 7 that next day. So throughout the morning, a lot of my family members were out and about, checking out the city, going to the beach, seeing what the city had to offer, etc., etc. So I remember me and my sister, we were texting my cousin, the cousin who is the son of the cousin who's getting married, because like I said, we're close in age, we're close, we're cool. So he was saying, yeah, let's go to the beach, let's have fun, let's meet up at a certain time, because there were a lot of different rides and things to do. There was that skiing thing where you're like on the water skis and whatnot. There's like one person in the front, one person in the back. There's that canoeing or kayaking, and there's the parasailing, all this different stuff you can do at the beach. So I remember that night we texted him, okay, yeah, let's get up at a certain time so we can do all this different stuff. So we go to sleep, we wake up, and then my parents drop us off at that hotel, the main hotel, because the main hotel is on the beach. So we meet up with my cousin and we're being social and just like, hey, how you doing, with other family members, because a lot of family members were coming down at that time to meet up, to check out the city, see what the city had to offer, etc., etc. So it's just a good time. Like I said, we hadn't seen our family members in a while, so we saw them at the dinner and at the mixer, but it's just like, hey, how you doing? Ooh, where y'all going? We gonna do da-da-da, we gonna do da-da-da. We're just comparing notes. Oh, that's good, that's a good price. Oh, okay, we'll see you there, we'll do this. So we were doing all that. So me, my sister, and my cousin, we go down to the beach. We walk down onto the beach so we can figure out, oh, are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do that? We stop by this pizza place and we see that my cousin, the cousin from before, the barber, her and her daughter are at this pizza place and they're there with this couple. And they were being really friendly, really nice, you know, hey, how y'all doing, blah, blah, blah. We chatting it up, having a good old time. Everyone's feeling comfortable, everyone's feeling good. We're talking about, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, blah, blah, blah. So it seemed like we're gonna be this big little group, all gonna be social with one another and have a good old time and just live our best life. I believe they're wrapping up their food. Like they finished eating up their food. They were basically about to leave. They were going to set up a tent, set up like a little central area for us to chill at when we weren't parasailing or water skiing. So me, my cousin, my sister, we get our own pizza, we sit down, we chit chat, have a good old time, and then we walk over to the area where everybody's sitting at the beach to meet up with them so we can figure out who's going parasailing, who's going water skiing. So we walk over to the tent area where they've set everything up, and then we all go over to sign the waivers and pay for their different stuff. I actually decide that I'm not really feeling that. I'm like, I'll just go get my feet wet. I may buy a funnel cake. Like, I just wasn't really into the water skiing thing because I was just like, I can swim, but that sounds like an accident waiting to happen. So I wasn't really feeling that. So I was like, I think I'm just gonna sit down and mind my business. The couple, weirdo cousin and her daughter, and my sister and my cousin, who's the son of the bride, they all decide, okay, we're gonna go parasail and we're gonna go water skiing. I'm just like, okay, whatever, cool. So I just go back to the tent area to chill, and I believe their thing wasn't for another 30 minutes or an hour, so I think we all just kind of were chilling, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I went back to the tent to sit down. I believe the cousin of the bride and my sister, at that time, they went to the area where they were gonna wait to do the water skiing. I'm trying to remember, because I'm like, I don't know where her daughter went. I think her daughter went to do something. I think the couple went to wait for whatever they were doing. So it was just me and weirdo cousin at the tent. I believe she was supposed to be waiting with her daughter, but for whatever reason, when I went back to the tent, she went back with me, and I was just chilling on my phone. I believe I was watching a YouTuber on live stream, then some YouTube videos I hadn't had a chance to get to from some of my favorite creators. I was just chilling, having a good old time, enjoying myself. I wasn't bothering anyone. I was minding my business. And I remember my weirdo cousin came back, and she clearly saw that it was just me and her, and she knew that nobody else was around. Maybe she was grabbing her purse, or maybe she was grabbing something she forgot, but she decided to say something under her breath to me because she knew that nobody else was there. And she said something, do you see all the guys with huge penises over there? And I remember sitting there, I probably had an AirPod or two in, and I was just minding my business, watching live stream, watching my favorite creators. It's like when somebody says something to you, but you kind of half hear them. You heard them, but what you heard them say, you're like, I know they didn't say that. Because there's another funny story time about that, because I've had that happen to me before. Because I remember I was dropping off this package at this post office, and there was this older man, at least 45, 50. I was walking past him just trying to drop my package off. And I remember him saying, are you single? Thinking in my head, I heard him say it. I was like, huh? Like, cause I was like, this 40-plus-year-old random black man walking across the street, I'm pretty sure he didn't just ask me, was I single? He said, no. I said, are you dating someone? Cause you can have all of this. And I remember just thinking, what the hell? I just bring that up cause I just always find that funny, cause sometimes you'll hear somebody say something, you hear it, but it's like in your mind, you're like, I know they just didn't say that. Like, it's just like your mind can't process it. So anyway, she says, do you see all the men with the big penises over there? And I just remember feeling weird because I'm just like, I am myself, and I'm, not someone who hides my identity, but at the same time, I'm not someone who ever had a conversation with her saying that I'm a member of the LGBT plus community, that I'm a bi man. So it was weird to me that when I'm with my mom and when I'm with my dad and my sister and we're having family time, and it's just, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, my daughter, she is worried about going to the new school. Oh my gosh, she's a little anxious about it, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I can get you right in my barbershop. But then the second that she gets me by myself, oh, did you see the guys with all the big penises over there? It's like I never had a conversation with you about my LGBT plus identity, and you jump into, do you see the guys with all the big penises over there? And I remember feeling weird about it. Like I said, I heard her. It's like that situation with that older gentleman where I'm like, I know he didn't just ask me, am I single? I was like, I know she didn't just say that. I was like, what? And then I think she repeated it or something. I just remember feeling so uncomfortable because I'm just like, yes, I'm a member of the LGBT plus community, but I'm not some guy who's out here looking in people's that area of, as a bi man. If I'm attracted to someone, I'm attracted to your vibe, your aura, your presence. Like, what's your face giving? What's your hair giving? What are you giving as a person? Not just that certain area. That's not what I'm impressed with. So I'm not somebody who's out here looking at people's waistlines trying to see that. And it bothered me because it was just like, if you wanted to have a conversation with me and talk about my LGBT plus identity, there were ways to have that conversation, but to jump to, do you see all those guys with those big penises over there? We never had a conversation about me being LGBT plus, and you jump into that. Not every queer man is interested in penises. Like, it just made me uncomfortable. That was the first weirdo action. And I remember I just felt really uncomfortable about it because she waited until nobody was around to say that comment. Even if I'm a queer man, that doesn't mean I'm fixated on other males' private parts. As a bi man, if I'm into a man or woman, it's usually like, oh, hey, how you doing? Like, we have a connection, we vibe together. It's not just, oh, what are they? packing, what are they serving? So it was just really uncomfortable for me. She waited till I was alone to say that. And like I said, there are ways to have conversations with people, because I'm like, maybe, you know, she's a part of the community and maybe she was trying to connect with me on that level, but there was just something about it that didn't feel right. Because like I said, this woman, she's in her 40s and you're talking to a 22-year-old about penises. It just felt weird. Like she took it to that inappropriate place, because you a 40-plus woman, and I believe her daughter was in her junior year of high school at the time. I'm closer to the daughter in age because I was 22 at the time. Her daughter was probably 17 at the time, or like, I guess whatever age you are when you're entering your junior year of high school. So she was 16, 17. I'm a few years older than her. I'm closer to your daughter in age than you are, and you sitting here talking with me. We ain't never had a conversation about my sexuality, but you jump into see the men with all the big penises over there. It just made me feel so uncomfortable. And I remember I didn't say anything really in regards to that. That just made me feel uncomfortable, because I'm like, I know that she wouldn't have had that conversation with any of my other male cousins around my age. And that's one of the struggles I have as someone who I feel is often read as queer. People will say things to you and treat you different and put you in more uncomfortable situations that they wouldn't with other people. I went to go get my feet wet, and it was a godsend, because I believe around that time, Sydney Blaque, she had posted a video. I believe it was about Reagan. She had made multiple videos about Reagan. So it was like, she posted that video, one of her makeup and history videos. So I was just able to watch that and like go and get my feet wet and just focus on other stuff and go do different stuff in the area and just really get away from her. And I remember feeling weird about it, because basically my sister and my cousin and her daughter and the couple, they did their parasailing stuff and their water skiing stuff, and they came back and they hung out with her, with Weirdo Cousin, and had like a cool, fun time. I believe my sister was saying something along the lines of, oh dang, you should hang out with us. Like, I think they took pictures. I remember she just made me feel uncomfortable, and I think for me, it was just, I was taken off guard. It was weird. She took that to a place, it was just uncomfortable for me. And I just want to ask y'all in the comment section, how would y'all have reacted in that situation? I was alone and she waited till no one was around to really take the conversation to that level. So it just made me uncomfortable. And even though I'm comfortable with my identity, what she said, like, I didn't really want to repeat it, and like her putting it towards me, like it just made me uncomfortable. I want to know, how do y'all feel about it? And I just remember feeling weird, because my sister, she was like basically saying, you should have hung out with us, you should have spent time with us. But it was like, she didn't know that the reason why I distanced myself from Weirdo Cousin was because my Weirdo Cousin had said stuff that made me uncomfortable. And I think if she knew that that person had said that and made me uncomfortable, she would have known, hey, that's why he's being distant. He's not being distant because he doesn't want to be around his family. He's being distant because she put him in an uncomfortable situation. So of course, after that, I mind my business until it's time for us to go back home and get ready for the wedding, because the wedding was that same night. When we get ready for the wedding, that cousin, she kind of was carrying through the wedding. She had gotten drunk. So basically throughout the wedding, she just like, ayo, that's my cousin up there getting married. Yeah, that's her. That's my girl, da-da-da, whatever. And it was just a little ratchet, because it's like, girl, like, this is a fancy ceremony. We on a boat. Money was spent. And you out here screaming and acting a hot mess. But at the same time, it's like, you know, it's whatever. She's loving on her cousin, so maybe it wasn't her intent to cause a scene. I just had to mention that, because I was just like, you kind of doing a lot on this trip. You just kind of doing too much. So the other issue that happened with this cousin on the trip was my cousin, the bride, had told her that she was going to be at table 1. But of course, the cousin who's the bride, she's talking to hundreds of different people. She's just trying to make sure everything's right with the wedding, everything's right with her people, with his people, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, when we actually go to the reception, which was in the inner part of the boat, and my cousin, who's her stepdaughter, she's sitting everybody down where they're actually set up to be. So it actually turns out that Weirdo Cousin wasn't at table 1. She was at table 7, or she was at another table. And my other cousin, we'll call her Cool Grown Cousin. Cool Grown Cousin, who's in her early 30s, she's younger than Weirdo Cousin. She's at table 1 with my parents, and I think with somebody else, because I think it was 4 spots to sit in. She's at table 1. Weirdo Cousin was at table 7, or she was at some other table, because my cousin, the bride, was of course doing 50 things at once, just trying to keep everything in order. So when she said, oh, you're at table 1, she didn't realize, oh, she's not actually at table 1, she's at another table. But Weirdo Cousin, who has some liquid courage, for whatever reason, it meant something to her that she was at table 1. She must have thought, oh, maybe table 1 means she's closer to the bride, even though people were just set up at tables based off of whatever. It was not like table 1 was more special than table 7. They were all just tables where people were sitting. Like, there were people of varying levels of closeness at different tables throughout the boat. Weirdo Cousin just couldn't take no for an answer. She starts verbally harassing Cool Grown Cousin, who is younger than her. She starts yelling at her, talking down to her, talking about her hair, talking about this and talking about that, and calling her out her name, just because she's sitting at the seat that she was assigned. And she's just being so nasty and vicious to Cool Grown Cousin, basically making a scene at the wedding. cool grown cousin ends up giving her seat to weirdo cousin just because she's like, you know what, it's a wedding. I don't want our cousin to get upset because you can't handle the fact that you're not at the table that she said she was, even though people are dispersed throughout the boat. Her being at table 1 doesn't mean she's closer or whatever. It was just, she was at table 1. It's just how they divvied up the seats. So in order to avoid a scene, cool grown cousin decides to sit at the seat that weirdo cousin doesn't want to sit at, so no scene is caused. But I just wanted to bring that up just because it showed weirdo cousin was starting herself with people and acting in ways I feel she didn't necessarily need to act in. Now we're going to get to incident number 2. So let me know how y'all feel about incident 1. A few weeks ago, whenever Labor Day weekend, that Sunday, we had a cookout. And I was so excited because I hadn't seen family members in a minute. So I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a good time, blah, 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 blah. And I see that cousin's there with her daughter. They walked in and I was still friendly with her. Even though she made me uncomfortable at one time, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be nice. Maybe it was a fluke. Maybe it was something that was off. Maybe it was something that was different. And keep in mind, my sister hadn't come to this function because usually my sister and me, we're going to stick together, sit together, chit chat, whatever. But I was by myself because basically it was me and my parents. But my parents, I believe after we had said grace, everyone started to get up in line. She decided to come to me because I guess here's what happened. I'm all over the place. But basically when she came in, I was sitting with my mom and my dad. And I said hey to her. I said, hey, how you doing? She said hey to all of us together. But basically I was letting other people eat food before I went up to get food. So then I was by myself. So she had said standard greeting with everybody else. But then once I was alone, once my mom and dad had gotten up to go eat, then she comes over to me and says under her breath, oh, I meant to tell you, I didn't want to tell you in front of your mama, but your booty looking real juicy. She says that to me, your booty looking real juicy. I don't even know, she may have patted me on the back or something. And I remember just feeling weird because I was just like, she tried it the first time and I remember just like leaving the situation because she made me uncomfortable. But I thought maybe, okay, she saw I was uncomfortable. Maybe she realized like, okay, I was saying something I shouldn't have said. But she took it to another level of saying, oh, your booty looking real juicy. Let's keep in mind, you have a now 18-year-old daughter and you're talking to a 23-year-old young man who's closer in age to your daughter than he is to you, talking about your booty looking real juicy. It just felt really uncomfortable and I was just like, something about this isn't right. And there was a part of me that was like, should I take her to, because I mean it was my uncle's house. He got a nice house. So I was like, should I take her into another room and tell her, hey, you need to stop this. This is making me uncomfortable. But then there's a part of me that's just like, no shade. Remember, someone told her when we were at the wedding, hey, this is my seat. And she got belligerent with them. So I was just kind of like, I want to keep the peace out when this started scene. But it's like, this is the second time you're saying something that's making me uncomfortable. So there's a part of me that's kind of wanted to address it and be like, okay, we need to go to the other room. Hey, I'm going to need you to stop saying this because I don't like it. But then there's a part of me that's like, okay, but is she going to try to start a scene and take it to 100 and take it somewhere it don't need to go? But then there's a part of me that's like, okay, well, if she's trying to take it to 100, then I can take it to 100 with her because I'm not going to be talked to in a way that makes me uncomfortable. I'm not going to allow you to put me in a place where I'm feeling uncomfortable at a family gathering. But I was just like, you know what, people just trying to have a good time at this family gathering. I'm not trying to take it to a place that don't need to go. But something about it, like I knew it wasn't right what she said and what she did, but it was just like, I was like, I don't want to make a scene. We just a family trying to have a good time. So I was really uncertain of what to do. Do you feel like she was just trying to relate to me, or you feel like it was inappropriate? Because I feel like it was inappropriate and she knew she was wrong, which is why she waited. And I feel like she just took it to another level. And I don't know, part of me, I'm not gonna lie, part of me was like, I've been going to the gym, lifting my weights, trying to work towards my fitness goals. A part of me is like, well, I mean, I have been doing leg day, but part of me was like, this is not right. This is abnormal. This is weird. This is not okay. I wanted to chat with y'all about how I felt about the situation because I was just like, something about that made me uncomfortable. I guess for me, I want to know what y'all would do in this situation because I'm just like, Thanksgiving and Christmas are around the corner and I'm just like, I don't want to ruin the relationship I have with her daughter, a cousin I really enjoy, but you doing too much and you making me uncomfortable and you taking it even further. And I'm just like, part of me wanted to tell my mom or tell my dad, this is making me uncomfortable because I'm like, I mean, they know me, they know my identity, they know blah, blah, blah. But I'm just like, I don't want it to blow up into something because I'm just like, my parents are protective of me. And I know that if they knew that she was saying some of this inappropriate stuff, they may have to call her up and they may have to tell her a little something. Call up her mom and her mom may tell her a little something because it's like, we family, you not supposed to say inappropriate things that make people uncomfortable. Like, you should know better. You are way too grown to be out here saying some of the stuff you're saying. And I just felt weird because I'm like, is she being a predator? You saying somebody's booty's looking juicy? Are you trying to relate to me as someone who's an LGBT plus? Or are you being a predator? Like, something about this ain't right. Because I'm cool with her sister. Because basically, weirdo cousin, her brother just got married. The wedding was beautiful and we had a great time. I'm cool with her brother and I'm cool with her sister. Her sister is the mother of another one of my cousins who I'm really close with who's around my age. So I'm cool with her sister, I'm cool with her brother, who act like actual freaking adults, who act mature and don't say inappropriate things. I actually started typing up a note, and I was like, I'm probably going to send this to my cousin who's around my age, or maybe she can either tell her mom, who is the sister of Weirdo Cousin, or she herself can, depending on the relationship she has with Weirdo Cousin, say, hey, our cousin, my cousin, he's saying you saying some weird stuff to him. And my thing is, for me, I'm a grown-ass man. I can say what I need to say to somebody. I'm like, those people are close to her, so I'm like, somebody need to settle this. And I'm like, I don't want to make it into something where everybody got to know, but like, something need to be done to handle this. So how do y'all feel about this situation? What do you think about this? I feel like this is weirdo behavior. It made me uncomfortable, but maybe in your eyes, this isn't what it is. But I just felt like either she's trying to connect to me as an LGBT plus person, but she don't know how to, or she's trying to be an ally, but she don't know how to, or she's just being a weird ass predator, talking to a 22-year-old and a 23-year-old about things that she shouldn't be talking to him about. So what do y'all think? I had to let it out. So I never sent her the message. I never finished writing the note, but I probably will. But I just kind of want to see what y'all think. Like, am I overreacting? Am I underreacting? Something about this ain't right. But thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Love you. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Like this video if you like this video. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the points I made in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, definitely like, comment, subscribe, and share. That way, even if YouTube isn't pushing my content, those who resonate with it are sharing it so it can connect with others who would enjoy it. Those are some easy, free ways to support a pop of culture. If you want to support this show financially, feel free to send a tip to my Cash App or buy me a cup of coffee, both are linked below. All who donate will be featured in the credits of my long-form commentary and cover videos. There are 2 playlists that are going to pop up, one where you can binge watch my covers and one where you can binge watch my commentary. Enjoy. Bye-bye.